This conference will now be recorded.
Good evening. The time being 6 p.m., I'll call to order the Tuesday, May 27th, 2025 meeting of the Tilton Planning Board. First on our agenda is Sharam LLC, Planning Board Case 25-05, 650 Laconia Road, Map R6, lots 23A, Resort Commercial Subdivision. And we have a packet for this. So if we want to take a look at the I just have one quick question. It says see agent authorization, but I don't see it in my packet. I don't know if anyone else has it, but thank you. I know it'll come up. That's the only reason why I'm going to say. Thank you. I don't know if anyone has it.
Yeah.
I don't.
I don't.
No.
I don't.
I only noticed it because it said it right on the front page. So,
Mr. Chairman, right here.
oh, Mr. Damon has it, but unless it's
I don't have it. Copy Tom's. Okay. It looks like it did copy.
yeah. I mean, as long as we have, just want to make sure we have it. That's all.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. I think you can tell.
Nice and clear. So, for me at least. No, this is nice and clear. So
No, mine too, Pep. I'm all set.
the copy machine did good.
Oh, here it is. Look.
Atherton Road.
On the application, there's only one box unchecked under existing data and information, existing landscape. I'm going to assume that's supposed to be a check mark and not NA.
That's the only one I found that too.
Yeah. Because it does show the existing landscape.
Mm-hmm.
I guess I took it as bushes and.
It's all, I think it's all existing landscape. And that is on this plan, right? So it's either a check or a not applicable.
It's under existing data. It's next to the last one. Next to the last one, under existing data and information required. On the site plan review.
I see. We did topographic survey. Does that qualify as landscape? I don't. Didn't check it because I thought it might have applied to bushes and.
So do we want to say NA?
Are there any bushes and things there now?
Well, there may be, but normally as part of our due diligence, we don't locate all the bushes. The subdivision plan.
So it's NA, Pat?
NA, yeah. I make a motion to accept the application for subdivision map R6 lot 23A as substantially complete.
I'll second that.
Motion second. Any discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Abstentions? Motion passes. The microphone is yours. Appears to be a.
For the record, my name is Frank Yerkes with Dubois and King, and we're representing the owner of the Econo Lodge, the property before you. We're proposing to take a 10-acre existing lot, which consists of the Econo Lodge hotel, motel, and a single-family residence, and we want to create a 6.17 acre lot with the single-family residence and a 3.83 acre lot with the Econo Lodge hotel. The intent of this plan is to, the owner wants to divide off his personal residence from the Econo Lodge. Our engineers and the architects are working on some major improvements for the Econo Lodge, and they'll be back in with a site plan application at some point. We've located all the existing features, utilities. We're not asking for any waivers. I believe it meets the intent and the requirements of your subdivision regulations. And I'd be happy to answer any questions.
Is there a driveway direct from Laconia Road to this residence? Or does it come off the Econo Lodge? Because it's kind of just stops here.
There is a curb cut at the end of that driveway and a direct access. It may not be totally clear with the contour lines. There's a lot of lines going through there, but there is a paved access.
Here it is, Christine, I think.
Yes, it doesn't go to the road.
Yeah.
It stops up here.
It doesn't go all the way to Laconia Road though on the drawing.
On this, but he said there's a curb cut, so.
Well, it's paved all the way to Laconia Road.
Okay.
We can clear that up before recording. I see it as a little confusing.
Does that need a separate DOT driveway permit? Do we have that?
Need to be updated, okay.
They have one, we said.
Okay. Wasn't sure how that worked with this. Now it's a completely separate lot. Well, this is a subdivision, so this parcel is going to be coming back to us for site plan, but I don't see it. It's going to have to be somehow delineated from the existing parcel for DOT purposes, I would imagine. I'm not.
Bring back to us for site plan.
No, this
Desert Lodge.
this separate lot is not going to be coming back to
Oh.
us, but
Oh.
they're going to need a DOT permit updated, I would imagine.
Yes.
I believe our engineers have been in contact with DOT and
Okay.
they'll clear that up when they come back with site plan.
All right, thank you, Pat.
The residential property is not gonna be site plan,
Right.
so.
But the Econo Lodge will be. That's
Right,
what,
but
that's what,
we're just dealing with
yeah, that's what Eric was
this
saying.
driveway for the residential, so we're gonna wanna make sure we put that condition on the approval of this,
Yeah.
if we approve it. Does this show at the house a driveway coming off on the eastern side, wrapping around, and then a strip of driveway on the western side as well coming down?
Correct.
The bottom part of the eastern side is outside of the setback, inside the setback. It should be, well, I'm trying to decide if it's a side or rear or front setback there. But it's,
I think it's the front.
but it's
I
gotta be
think.
at least 20 feet. And that one point where it curves around, it's not.
Well, it's an existing driveway and correct me if I'm wrong, but I think driveways can be within the setback.
No. On page 38 of our subdivision, all driveways shall conform to the side and rear setbacks contained in the current zoning regulations.
I stand corrected.
I
work in a lot of different towns. I don't, have it all.
So, obviously it's existing, so the lot line would have to be,
Moved.
I think, I don't know, zoning, planning board members, am I deviating off the path or?
Well, your ordinance does allow a 50-foot access to an interior lot, and we've got setbacks on both sides of those lines. So I don't know how we'd get a driveway in there within 50 feet. It'd be pretty tight.
Well, you see where I'm talking about. It's way above the 50 feet, but I'm also looking at, it looks like the elevation drops off pretty steeply.
Where it says proposed lot line.
Proposed lot line.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, it's an existing driveway. It's manageable. They've been living there, I think, for some time.
Yes, but not with that lot line,
Oh, I see.
not with that boundary.
I see. I see what you're saying.
Is that consider a front setback?
I'm not sure.
I'm not either.
I would say side, rear, front. But this what I just read, remember, says side and rear setbacks. Doesn't say anything about front, which is interesting.
And that's where it's
I don't
so
think they
obvious.
expect, I think
Mm-hmm.
when this was written, it was expected that front would be on the road,
Road frontage, yeah.
road frontage, so.
I'm sure they said that, Bob.
In my experience, I always take front setback as being on the road, but
Yeah,
And I'm sure that's what they assumed too, and that's why they didn't say that.
But this could be front, and this is what, side, back, and
Well,
side?
I'm sorry, well, this is definitely front, the
Yeah,
50 feet.
front.
Yeah.
So this is the
Side.
rest of the front,
Oh,
and I
okay.
suppose this is the rest of the front, because these are definitely side, this is
Okay.
rear. Side, this is rear, so front. So maybe our ordinance excludes front setback.
Maybe.
The other thing I think with that
Like this.
terrain, I don't suspect that's gonna be cleared anytime soon.
which,
Sure, I'm talking about where it, right here, this elevation looks pretty steep.
I don't think anything is going to be cleared that isn't already cleared.
Right, so.
I mean,
Board members,
Hmm.
what do you think?
there's no construction or proposed changes on,
What
Well,
I'm
the
getting
lot
at
line.
is, I think Mother Nature has provided protection, if you will, which is why we have side, rear and front setbacks.
Mhm.
But I'll go with my board members on this one. Not to set a precedent.
Right. What is the distance between that edge of the driveway and that lot line right there? I can't tell. What is this, what is this
Well, if you
scale?
look over here, this is 20 feet. I'm saying that's
Okay,
maybe 15.
okay.
I'd say about
And
15.
actually, it looks like they put the line for the 20-foot buffer right here.
Mm.
It's in there.
Yeah.
So they knew.
No, that's what I think, and that's the line too.
Because you see the line?
Yeah, that's what I think. Yeah,
Here?
that's what I thought.
We have this.
Mm-hmm.
Not even 15. Maybe 10.
No, I don't see any wetlands.
Mm.
Well, I think the slope of the hill probably,
Go somewhere.
if there was wetlands, they wouldn't last very long.
probably not,
They'd be down on Route 3 or Winnisquam.
kind of steep.
I think they went the other way to Grange Roads area.
Like a 50-foot elevation change.
Mm-hmm.
I gotta stop looking at it. I'm beginning to site plan.
So I guess how do you remedy? Do they have to get a variance? Do they redraw the line?
Well, again, our ordinance doesn't talk about
Oh,
front
we don't.
setback,
Oh, it
and I think
doesn't,
that's
no.
definitely
Yeah.
front.
right, we don't speak to that at all,
Yeah,
so.
so I would, and since Mother Nature is taking care of, any intrusion from the abutting property, I'd be inclined to let it go. 'Cause,
I would too.
again, it doesn't say anything about front,
Yep.
and I think that's definitely front.
Not yet.
I agree.
Other than that, it all meets the criteria for a
Mhm.
subdivision,
Yeah,
acreage, blah, blah, blah.
I would agree. On a technicality, it meets.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mr. Damon?
And 83, and it has sewer.
Yeah.
Do you have
Yeah.
utility easements for all your sewer, electric. Well, electric doesn't look like you need, but sewer.
Um,
I don't know if it's served by gas or.
I saw sewer. here
It's,
somewhere.
it's served by gas. And I believe those will be written into the deed or conveyance.
I've learned a lot about utilities lately, so that's why, and easements, and they're very important for the future because you never know what the future's going to bring.
I agree. But currently, it's the same ownership.
Right, but it's when it's not the same ownership, and all of a sudden one neighbor doesn't like the other neighbor.
I could write a book.
Oh, I could start.
But I
believe-
advise clients all the time, the board, they'll say, well, this is what we want to do and it's not going to change. And I'll say, the board is going to say, once we approve it, we can't predict the future ownership.
That's right.
If I'm-
I get that.
If I'm not mistaken, I believe utility easements stay with the land regardless of owners.
Right, but they have to be in there. If you don't have it, I just want to make sure they have it because I wasn't sure if
It has to be stated.
it has to be stated that there's one in there
Yeah.
because that does carry on and it protects someone else because I have a project that I'm working on and all the utilities come from the next door neighbor and they're an
Yeah.
island and then their next door neighbor comes across. And
It gets complicated.
it gets complicated, but there's an easement and that's all I need.
Yeah.
You can't stop me if I have that easement. Well, you can try, but so
Where does the sewer run to get to the back house? Right through the restaurant
Right.
area?
just to the left of the restaurant looks
To
like.
the left?
Yeah, underneath
I
the
saw it
paved
here
parking lot.
somewhere.
Well, the overhead I saw it stays on that new lot, so
Yeah, we located the sewer based on cleanouts, physical evidence. But we could add a note to the plan about addressing easements, if that would clear that up.
I'm surprised it's not on here already.
it's a drain line. Drain.
It's got the setback line here, and that's why. Strange they don't have this up here. Well, we can approve it and have a
Looks like you're only
condition that
gonna
all
need the easement for,
Yeah.
easements are granted and
Yeah.
noted.
There's any other comments from the board? We have well, I'll open it to public. Is there anyone here from the public at 6:24 p.m.? No one here from the public, so I'll close it to the public at 6:25 p.m. Back to the board. Any other discussion?
I just think we should put a condition in there that any necessary easement. No, I just think that Eric brought up the easements and we can't find it recorded on the plan. Make sure that all of the easements for the utilities are provided and noted on the plan.
Fair enough. We'll prepare some notes on the plan prior to
Including
recording.
sewer
Yeah, including sewer.
and the updated driveway permit.
Include what, pardon me?
Sewer. sewer,
Oh, yeah.
and an updated driveway permit.
I think we've got one, but I'll check when I get back
Okay.
in the office.
So I'll make a motion to approve it with those two conditions.
Second.
Mr. Chair.
Yeah, is there, we have a motion, so let's hear the motion. We can always add it for discussion. Oh, discussion, there's a motion and a second. Any discussion?
I did talk with DOT, and number one, they're very backlogged, and number two, they do have in progress a lot of updated driveway. So when they come in for the site plan, so if you can just word that a little bit different than what you're wording that, he's going to come in and record, Frank's going to come in and record this in the registry. It may take past the site plan to do that,
Well,
record it into the registry if you're going to wait for an updated driveway permit.
Well, it's not approved until they do have an updated driveway
Okay.
permit.
Right,
That's what we're saying.
because if this, I have no idea, it could potentially happen that the other property gets sold
Mm-hmm,
and
got it.
we have to protect the,
Yep.
Yeah.
Any future owner.
any other discussion? All those in favor of the motion signify by saying aye.
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 Opposed? Abstentions? Motion passes at 6:27. I don't know why it's at the time, but I said the time.
Oh, this one's conceptual?
Go forth and subdivide. All right. Let's put that away, put that away, that away. All right.
This is tiny.
Yeah, I think I folded it up with this.
One of those days.
That's that.
Yeah.
Next on our agenda,
One of those weeks. It's right there.
Jim Lowry, Jim Lowry, map R18, lot 9, 171 School Street, conceptual subdivision, medium
Bless you.
residential
Bless
zone.
you. Nobody else will.
All right. So this is just a conceptual.
No, there it is.
I just drove by this.
Looks like plenty of road frontage.
Oh, all right. So you're Mr. Lowry, right?
Yes, I am.
Okay.
The back one?
Sorry.
Mhm.
Short-term memory.
Okay.
So this is a conceptual, so I guess we'll give you the microphone.
Sure. So what we're hoping to do is get a 1 acre lot subdivided out of my 171 property. We do have a driveway with one house on the property already, and we're hoping to put a second one in. So it would be what I would consider a shared driveway with a new house lot, 2 acre lot.
Wait. This one?
So is this lot 1, this is 2.23 acres? Is
That's
that
correct.
Oh.
So that's a,
What's the zoning here, residential?
It's medium residential
Oh.
medium residential.
And minimum acreage is what?
too,
2.
without sewer,
Okay.
right? Medium.
That is correct.
Without sewer, it's 2, and there's no sewer up here.
Actually, we've gone well over 2 just to give us a little extra.
2.23.
So you will grant an easement to this lot? if
That's
given,
correct. Yes.
To use that driveway,
Absolutely.
existing driveway?
Yes.
And there's already an easement for the house that's in the back, correct?
Well,
Well, no, that's been existing
Yeah.
for
That's their,
decades.
that's
Yeah,
their existing.
That's been there
right.
since 80s, middle 80s, right?
So,
I think before that, isn't it? It was Swain's house.
I don't, yeah, no, I don't know. No.
Hmm.
30 years at least.
Mr. Lowry, just hear me out for a second. You're proposing lot 1 of 2.23 acres?
That's correct.
Okay. And the width of the lot on the street side is 125 feet by what, 700? Is that what you're considering?
Yeah.
I'm not sure where you're at, Tom, there. Can you explain that again, please?
The lot dimensions,
Right?
up towards School Street, at the end of it, it would be 125 feet
Well,
on the width?
so the width of that driveway is approximately 60 feet.
Right.
He's
Okay.
looking at the actual
The
lot
lot.
1. It says 125 right on there.
It's 125 feet at the front of that lot, and then it tapers to 150 feet at the rear
Okay,
Of lot
the
one.
new lot.
of lot one.
The new lot.
Oh, okay, you said on School Street, so I was a little bit confused. Okay.
Yeah, this lot here is
Yes.
125 feet.
So it's
Okay.
125 and then it
It goes-
becomes 150. It
Okay.
widens out.
Okay,
Yes.
thank you.
I'm sorry, I didn't understand you.
Is that? Does that create a backland lot?
No.
Okay. It'll be an easement. Yeah. It's a conceptual, so
Yeah.
we can't get lost in the weeds, so to speak. There's a pun there, but we're not gonna.
Yeah, basically, I'm just hoping for your approval to move forward so we can get a site plan done and then go through zoning or whatever we got to do next. Okay.
I don't have.
It looks like it meets the criteria.
Yeah,
Hmm.
it's
I mean, we can't approve it, but it looks like it meets the
Okay.
criteria.
That's great. That's good to know. Okay.
You have an existing driveway. I can't find a reason why you can't use it.
Okay.
Can anybody?
No,
no.
No, I can't
You
either.
I mean, you obviously have to deed this property the right
Correct.
way to it
Yes.
because it doesn't go to it.
I don't have a problem with it.
No, I don't. It needs an easement of
Yeah.
the driveway. Or is it deed? No, it's easement, I think.
Easement.
Easement.
Well, since the driveway doesn't go to the property, you'd basically be crossing over somebody else's property and using this driveway that's on somebody else's property. So there'd have to be an easement.
And that's where you need the easement.
Other than that, I don't see any hiccups.
It's like the
That
road
sounds good.
of the house behind me.
Mm-hmm.
so it's nothing that we have to.
No, there's no. I think
Meets the acreage.
meets the acreage. It sounds like they're gonna put an easement in.
Yeah.
I would have.
Look forward to the site plan.
Okay.
Can't wait to see the road. No, just kidding.
Thank you.
All right. So
Yeah.
we'll be back with the proper paperwork. Thank
We'll
you.
see you. Yeah. Let's
Appreciate
Thank
it.
you.
Thank you.
Okay.
Have a good night.
Night. Go enjoy this nice weather. We don't have many days like this anymore.
I don't know. I've been at the desk all
We
day.
should.
All right.
We're supposed to.
Next on our agenda is the minutes of May 13th, 2025. Why does it feel like it was so long ago? Only 2 weeks ago.
Yeah, it wasn't that long ago, was
Oh,
it?
but it still feels.
And it's rained every day since, I think.
I just have a quick question. It says comment like 1 through 19. Is that because people aren't identifying themselves? Okay, so we need to make sure that people identify themselves in the future. I am sorry for that because it falls on me. So sorry to make your job tougher.
Mr. Chair, there is one, the very first, Ari Polak. He spells his name Pollack.
So change the spelling of Pollock to Pollack. It only shows up a few times. Anyone have any comments on corrections to make other than the one already stated?
I'm not through reading them all.
What's that?
I'm still reading.
You're still reading. Okay. Sorry. Not rushing.
Oh, we got the Christine Nowitzki case.
No. Super.
I'm through. I'm sorry it took me so long. I wanted to make sure they were all those things were included. I know there's so many.
Hmm?
We had so many for that
Yeah.
first case.
Well, the
I
first
wanted to
one
make
was
sure they
long.
were all in there.
I was wondering if that was a record.
Hmm?
I was wondering if the number of conditions was a record.
I don't know.
We had one once that had like 13. So.
Well, I thought they were necessary though.
Hmm?
They were necessary.
Oh, absolutely.
Is there already a motion, Eric, on the board?
Nope, there's no motions.
I'll move to accept them as written.
Is written or is corrected?
Corrected
As
with that
corrected
name.
with the spelling, I'm sorry, I
Yeah.
forgot
No,
that.
it's okay.
Second.
Motion second. Any discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Abstentions?
Abstention.
One abstention. 5 yeses. Motion passes. Next is zoning amendment workshop.
Well, question mark.
Yeah. Let me turn my mic on. Just, if I may, a couple of things before that, which will lead into the zoning. Last zoning meeting, we had 360 homes passed. Haven Grove case passed, had 60 duplexes, which was 120 homes. And across the street was 240 residential units in a resort commercial, which is 83 Manville, along with the
Wow.
manufacturing that passed 6 months or so ago.
That's 360 residences.
360 residential units
Wow.
that passed. And the reason why I said that is because DOT is meeting with, is in touch with land use, meeting with selectmen, hopefully in a scoping meeting in the near future. I created a list with them 3 months ago, that gave a list, which they were not aware of different properties that were upcoming in different stages of either being developed or in progress or coming up or past. And yesterday I got a list back in the blue here that they may need a updated driveway permit. So now they're reconsidering the look and need on Route 3. They're really seriously taking a good look at Route 3 in the development and driveways. Manville Road and across the street is going to take some serious consideration on both their parts.
When you
And
say both their parts, is that the property?
both applicants and DOT.
They don't line up, do they?
No.
How's that gonna work?
They may,
Yep,
but they're
DOT has some good
brainstorming
ideas.
now. But it could possibly in the future result in a light. But anyway, that is all what we do here, and that's what we've been doing in the last couple of weeks, working with them, and eventually it will get to the board of selectmen. That being said, that case, when it comes, the Manville case will obviously need a third-party review as well. Those are the things that we're concerned with here, with you folks, and obviously zoning. The proposed zoning amendments, the 2024 ones that just passed, short-term rentals, we don't have regulations to enforce them. We wrote them, you wrote them, you passed them, they were passed at town meeting. we don't have the means to enforce them or regulate them. And we can develop well, I think Cindy already developed a checklist or uh, trying to keep track of them, but it's up to the planning board to be able to figure out how we're going to go from there with short-term rentals. So that's pretty much high on our list because it's summer. People are calling. People are also selling their homes in their advertising that this includes a very lucrative short-term rental. So we're not advertising it, but that's how they're advertising it in Zillow and all the rest of them. So people are calling us, asking us for ideas, and we're saying, well, wait a minute, we just passed a zoning amendment here in Tilton, and and I can read it to you, or I can send it to you, and that's what we do. But from that point on, I have no way to control it.
Well, in that, somebody would have to report to you.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's never been the practice to go out and look for people who might be in violation.
Right.
That's always been the problem.
Do you want us, the land use department, to create that list and checklist and go from there, or do I have to come here and have it approved and all of that?
They have to comply with the zoning regulations.
Mm-hmm.
And
It,
I don't see why you'd have to come back here. That's a code
but
enforcement.
if I, as a homeowner, property owner, whatever the right term is,
Right.
if I'm not aware
Mm-hmm.
that the town changed the regulations, the rules to include this, and I understand me as a property owner, I'm supposed to know rules and how everything is affected by it, but it happens where we don't know as a property owner that we've had it here before. Well, I didn't know I needed to do that, or
Mm-hmm.
There's no way to enforce it either.
there's no way to enforce it. But if there's so we have code enforcement of some sort.
But how would you know if I was a homeowner?
Well, if they see something if something's brought to their attention, if you're seeing Zillow ads or you're seeing this, can you?
I've seen real estate ads where people are selling their house and they will say can be used as an Airbnb. I've seen that.
No, but what I'm saying is, okay, do we send a letter
Mm-hmm.
to those property owners? Or does the town send a letter to those property owners saying, just in case you weren't aware, we're not accusing you of anything, because maybe I'm not using it as an Airbnb.
Right.
And, I guess I think when you hear the word Airbnb, there's a website that's Airbnb. But if I go on Amazon Marketplace and I put my place up for rent on an event, say Motorcycle Week, hey, I got a 4-bedroom house for rent. It's $2,000 for Motorcycle Week. What's the difference? There isn't. It's a short-term rental.
Correct.
So if the town sends that, I don't know what the right word is, to put in their file that, hey, we sent you a certified letter on X date, you've acknowledged that you've received it, is that the way to go?
But you potentially would have to send that to every homeowner.
Yeah, I think so.
Hmm?
I think so. Yep.
Because every homeowner could advertise their house for short-term rental.
Before we embarked on writing an amendment, if you Googled it, you came up with 185 just in Tilton. Just in Tilton.
Because that's any
Is that where
property,
you start?
not just
But
on
if
the
you,
lake.
well, if you look at our ordinance, we restricted it to what, two zones?
Mm. Yes, to the regional commercial and resort commercial.
So
So two zoning districts. So anybody that's outside of those districts right away is violating our ordinance. But I don't think we need to tell code enforcement how to do their job. But I'm wondering if we want to send this out with the next tax bills. Of course, it's not until December.
we just got our tax bills.
I know, I said the next one, but
Oh.
it's not until the end of the year. I don't know what other mailing goes out, but
We can take them back.
But if we hear of them, I mean, Cindy did a phenomenal job with this application, but if we hear of them, we can put a phone call in and say, hey, did you know that we have a permit that's needed? Could
Yeah.
you come in and do this?
just, yeah,
Okay, all right. That's,
this
Send
is
it
a
out.
nice job.
yeah, she did a great job.
Good job.
Very great job. A really great job.
Yeah.
The other one that we came up with is, what is it? Is that part of the ordinance?
Yes, it's not.
Okay. Well, why don't you explain that to the board?
When I stumble and stutter, you know why. So if you look down towards the bottom, it says maximum occupancy limit based on the number of bedrooms plus 2 additional people. It's not worded properly. Most of the places I've stayed, it says 2 people per bedroom plus 2 additional people. This says it's based on the number of bedrooms. You can fit 20 people into a bedroom if you want to get creative. It needs to be reworded some point somehow.
What does the ordinance say?
Same thing.
Boo. Boo, boo.
That's the problem.
So that's one that we're starting to keep a list of the things that we feel that we need to have changed in the amendments. And this is obviously a glaring little thing that we need to have changed in the,
We'll have to do that on the phone.
The 3 calls that I've had so far have all been about that question.
Oh, wow.
It's a good question.
yeah. Don't ask her she got creative, how she knows about the 20 people in one bedroom though. So the other,
In some cultures, that's acceptable.
exactly.
In Tilton, it's occurred.
Up over the Willies.
Not in the 60s.
We can even take you to the place.
Well,
So a couple of other items here on the ordinance and the amendments going forward, so we can get a gauge and we could go and look things up and research for you. One is the tents. Cindy had an issue the other day. Annually, J. Jill has an extremely large annual tent and
A gathering,
a gathering with a tent.
employees, with their employees.
Right,
Okay.
with their employees
for like
annually.
outdoor seating.
Mhm.
Yeah.
And the way it's written, it's going to get it.
The fire district has to approve
Right, they do.
a tent.
Yeah,
Well, depending on the size of the tent.
Right.
Well, from the sounds of it, this is probably not a small little
no,
pup tent.
Not for J. Jill.
no, but where we changed our fees, this went up.
The tent's going to be 100 by 40.
Oh,
100,
circus.
100 feet by 40 feet.
Wow. That's a big tent.
It's
Well, this
circus. I'm sorry.
this room is probably close to that.
And my garden's 100 by 20.
This room is probably 40 feet wide.
I'll bet it's not 100 feet.
Probably
So-
good 75 feet.
Yeah.
Is
it's
this the
big-
first year
bigger
they've
than
had
this
them? That they
room.
had,
No, they've had it every year, and we've charged according to what we've had on our fees. But this year, because we've changed our fees and they're under categories, okay?
There is no category for tents.
So Tim had suggested
Signs.
to put it under the sign fee, which was 200, which was way larger than what they had paid before. Way larger.
I think they paid either 50 or 75 last time.
How would you justify sign? Does it say J. Jill on it?
Nope. So,
I think so.
we could fix this tonight if you want to and just create a category for tent. If you so desired. And
Where did you put it before?
we had a category under the old one under tents,
Oh,
Do we
and it
make
was
sure-
a $50 or $75 fee.
wow.
It was one of them. It was temporary. It was like a wedding or something like that. You were just temporary fee, and that's what it was.
a corporate event or
Right.
what was it? Were there sizes? I mean, did it vary on the size of the tent?
No, I don't believe so.
I mean, if a tent for a wedding goes up on Friday afternoon and it's
Comes
taken down Sunday morning before we even know about it, how are we going to enforce that? Where, I mean, I've driven by J. Jill a million times. I've never noticed a tent there, so it must be in the back side of
Yeah,
the
it's in
building.
the back
So
side.
so it's not even in plain sight.
No, it's in the
Oh.
back with employees.
Just an event tent.
But you have to understand that it could also be other.
Yeah, that's why you want classification of like an event or corporate event
Yeah.
or
Or
Correct.
by size?
well,
I
you
mean,
want
I'm
to be
sitting here
careful,
thinking about my little,
size and length.
Canopy.
I don't want to be in the sun tent.
but you want to be careful because you don't want residents popping up tents for a bike week and
Mm-hmm.
saying that I paid.
They're
the
already-
$30
yeah.
Yeah, they
fee.
do.
I saw on Facebook
They
that
do it.
somebody said that they had a lot of space for people to put up all their tents, not canopy, but regular tents for Bike Week.
Well, didn't Jerry Straley used to rent the property across from me for that?
Yes, I do. You know how many times I've thrown people out of my
Got it,
hayfield?
Cindy?
Oh,
But I'm all for if you have the property, the land to justify it, sure, pay the fee, put up your tent.
and
I'm
temporary.
talking about a commercial use of a residential piece of property.
Correct.
Unless they're just letting them stay out of the goodness of their heart.
The friends,
I know.
they're temporary Airbnbs.
But yeah, if we set something up for tents, but I'd like to see something that if
Different.
I want to set up my little tent that's about half the size of this
12
table
by 12, yeah.
over the sandbox for Berkeley and his buddies,
We
I don't
definitely
want to pay
need,
$50 every time I decide to put it up.
we
Well-
definitely need details.
An event tent.
Yep.
So if
that's
somebody were
different, yeah.
having a wedding or a party at their home and they were setting up a tent and it was going to be up there for the day, then that they would get a permit for that. And because you want the fire department to check it out as well,
Can we put a
that
caveat
type of tent.
in that saying it's an event tent with the
Well-
48-hour expiration?
We could.
The fire district only goes out for a certain size tent.
Hmm.
So maybe that's where we start,
At that certain size.
is whatever, and I don't know
I
what
mean-
size that is.
I mean, I just put up I call it a tent. I don't know. It's a little
Right.
screened in
8
thing.
by 10 type
Well,
of
it's
thing.
like
Because
I don't know,
of,
10, 12 by 12 or
Greenhouse.
something.
Easy up.
The
Yeah,
greenhouse.
well, it's a little screen. It's a little screen house.
Oh,
thing.
yeah.
It's
Oh,
got
yeah.
sides, zipper. You know, we leave it open unless the weather turns.
or any commercial size tent.
But should I have a permit for that?
That's not an
No.
event, though.
But it's a tent.
Right.
But it's
That's
a
No,
what-
but
tent.
if you had a
still.
bunch of friends over to barbecue and they were sitting under it, now it's an
But
event.
that's the way it read before.
Right, that's
So-
why you
And we don't
want
want to
details.
prohibit people from having that kind of event.
No. Yeah.
No.
Any rented tent?
I think if we go by the fire district size,
Oh, I
because now
wanted
you're
the-
talking
the
a
fee
substantially
schedule that you had.
larger
That's
And
tent
use the
than
term, and make sure it has a term
what we're
rental.
talking about.
Well, I think the first thing we have to do is define is on the fee schedule, put tent, and then have Pat find out
building.
from the fire department what size tent do they go out for to inspect.
Okay.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah.
We can come up with something. Cindy and I will create something just for tents, and then perhaps maybe you can just approve or not approve it next time on the 10th when we meet again. Is that acceptable? And J. Jill last year paid 75. This year it's 200.
Ooh,
Yeah,
So,
I don't think that's right. We should.
yeah, I don't
hold-
think it's
I don't-
right.
We should
I
hold.
mean, I understand that we need to be sustainable and pay for our department. I get that. I really do,
I
but
think what happened
don't
is
wanna-
we went for years without raising our fees or checking our fees.
Many.
Sticker shock.
And then all of a sudden we decided, we realized what we were doing and we revised them. And I think once we do that on a regular basis, we won't run into this problem again.
right.
Well, once
I
you
think
try
so.
something on, you usually find you have to do some fitting.
So there are two other new things. Well, one's not new, is chickens. Chickens, everyone. I mean, we've gotten calls left and right for chickens, and Andrews Road, Winter Street. I mean, a lot of people want chickens now that they can't afford eggs.
I have a neighbor that has chickens.
Do we have an ordinance?
Well, only in that
you
agricultural
said.
livestock.
Right,
we-
we do,
we-
but it's very
I'm in
vague.
agriculture.
Agricultural livestock cannot be put in different some districts. So
Oh, okay.
And was it Laconia that's allowing chickens?
Well, they're looking at it of allowing chickens, but you have to you have to meet a minimum lot size.
Look at Dari. He had
Because it's
chickens
the
in
only
there.
city in New Hampshire that does not
He wasn't
allow
supposed
chickens.
He wasn't supposed to.
So Berlin,
You
Manchester,
get in trouble when they got
Nashua,
out.
Portsmouth,
oh,
they all allow chickens.
is that something that you folks want to allow in zoning amendments coming up?
I think so.
I'm not a good person because I don't like chickens.
I don't know. I've raised chickens for,
Yeah.
how old am I? I don't know.
I think it's
40
more-
years, let's say, probably a little longer. There is an unbelievable smell.
Mhm.
I mean, I have to hike to
Noise.
my chicken coop for a reason. There is noise, and it's not just roosters crowing. Hens will cackle. I mean, this noise, there's chickens draw rodents
And wildlife, other wildlife.
and other wildlife.
And
Coyote.
they're-
I mean,
and
I have
disease.
coyotes, fox. I have weasels. I even found a possum in my chicken coop. And not to mention dogs from other people that I've had to
So
run
go
off because they've
by
killed
lot
chickens.
size.
There's a lot of things that have to do with chickens. And it isn't because you have 50 or 20 or 10 or 5. It doesn't matter. Chickens and their feed and themselves and their eggs draw rats and mice and the others. So if you're in a residential neighborhood and I've got a neighbor that's, just 30 feet that way, those rodents are now living on their property. Those coyotes that I've attracted in fox are now going after their pets, cats, little dogs.
Well, we had one 5 or 6 years ago that was up on Mountain View, I think,
Mountain View Drive,
and
right?
they put their coop next to the property line.
Mhm.
And just before that, on the right-hand side,
Yep.
on Winter
So-
Street.
On Winter
On what
Street.
street? Yeah.
Lot size with setback.
If
That's when you
you
called, I knew right away.
so
Remember?
for Robert, because he's new, non-commercial raising or keeping of livestock is only permitted in rural agricultural. Otherwise, you have to have a special exception in medium residential, regional commercial, resort commercial, general commercial, industrial. Village district, it's not.
Not allowed.
They have lice too.
So there's a lot that won't. So then we'll just keep it that way. Is that the consensus here?
Yeah, I think.
Yeah.
Just,
Let them go to zoning and get their special
just
permits?
rural agricultural allowed.
And send them to Catherine if they have any complaints about it.
She'll let 'em
Well, I
know.
mean-
It's just, people think, oh, I'm going to get a couple chickens. There's so much involved. I mean, what do you do with the manure? And trust me, they produce a lot of manure.
And it's awful manure.
The next on the list is gun ranges and private property. We've got a new one coming in on Clark Road. We can't do, I mean, there's no restrictions whatsoever for that. Think about the noise level, the consistency of,
Well, can't you, I mean, can't you use the noise ordinance?
that's limited.
It is
Yeah,
limited.
after
It's
10.
very
after-
limited.
yeah.
But we as the selectmen should look at that
Well, you're right,
and look at times of discharge.
right.
And one of my favorites is kind of nice.
What?
I belong to the Pemigewasset Fish and Game Club. I've been a member for 13 years. They own 300 acres and they're constantly going to the town of Holderness to get in it so that they can get a 600-yard range put in. 600 yards. The stuff that they're using is almost like a howitzer. That's how powerful they are.
Well, that's what we have in Tilton.
And it's not just the noise. It's a stray bullet,
Mhm.
and it's just
That was my first
The-
thing.
where this range is. There's nobody around except behind them, and they have a cutoff at 8 o'clock at night. No, it's 8 o'clock in the morning, and it's a sundown.
Right.
I think it's a bad idea to have a shooting range in the town of Tilton, and I'm an enthusiast myself. It's just there's really no place in the town of Tilton that you can go, and if you want to do a little target shooting, because if somebody's beyond that, you don't know where it is, you don't know where it's going. A 22 rimfire can go a mile. I mean, it has a trajectory of a rainbow, but it can go a mile, and that's pretty dangerous. I'm a pretty good shot. I don't want to shoot anywhere near my property or anybody else's property. I think it's bad idea.
I think the selectmen should address it for the noise and disturbance right now.
And then come back to the planning for
Well,
amendment.
planning needs to address it because we don't have anything in here. We don't, somebody comes in and they want to put in a commercial shooting range. We have nothing.
Nothing at all.
Nothing. Nothing.
A lot of people have non-commercial shooting ranges.
Well, we shoot on my property, but I've got, I don't know, it's been divvied off with some family, but
I
we've
guess
got
what's the difference of
30 acres and
Yeah.
shoot into a berm.
Mr.
That's what
Damon
we do.
has
Shoot into a
of-
berm.
decent size and he just wants to, set up a target.
No.
Well, I'm just saying, if you
But they do.
But it's not for profit.
Yeah, people
Yeah.
do.
right, but again, it's that can be done versus, or can't, either one could be technically be done right now.
There's a
Goodness.
property in Lockmere on Silver Lake Road that shoots to the back. My son has property that goes out behind it. Now, in the direction that they shoot, there's a daycare. right there.
Oh,
Now, they created a berm. Well,
They can
what
go
if they
through
miss? Yeah, as Tom said, 22 can go mile. And there was no, and I got called when people down Ashland and whatnot. I was like, I don't know. So I called the chief. This was years ago before this chief. And he's like, I get nothing. He went down and looked. they were within their feet away from the abutting houses
Yeah, 300 yards. or
and
something like that.
behind.
Yeah.
But like Tom said, somebody's out there with a 70 caliber. I'm
We have to
sorry.
be 300
That's going to
was it-
take down small trees
You
and
have to be about
shrubs.
300 feet from a dwelling.
Yes,
300
a
feet from
dwelling
the
in
300
use,
yards or
No,
300 feet?
300
feet.
yards, 300 feet, excuse me, a
3 feet.
dwelling in
From
use.
activity,
Feet.
yeah.
So if there's a abandoned barn out there, it doesn't fall into that
Right.
criteria.
That's right.
Yeah, active,
It's got to be a building in use.
yeah,
So the-
300 feet.
I mean, I know-
thought it
How do
was
some of the other towns deal with it?
I know up
They
in,
don't have them.
Not many.
up in Benton on Route
don't have
112.
them.
There's a
They don't
shooting range
allow
right
it.
along Route 112.
Just don't allow it. Just
Right,
no.
I mean,
It's just plain no.
I go by there. I mean, you can
That's
see all the
how it's
little
cut
clays
down.
that they
Huh?
use.
You
Cut
can't
dry,
say
just
play
saying,
no, Tom. You can't say no. You have to be, do not, with
What the regular.
Catherine's advice. I talk with Fish and Game. I talk with the state troopers. I've talked with our chief. What are the parameters here? Because we don't have parameters here in Tilton other than a noise ordinance. And
What about the
in
safety,
a
public
school,
safety? What
in a
about
s-
public safety?
And the planning board can do that. We don't have to go by the states. We can make the distances further.
correct.
So right now it's what, 300 feet, Tom?
But it's,
350.
We could make it 500 feet. We could
Correct.
make it 800 feet.
300 feet is just a discharge of a firearm.
That's right.
Okay, it has nothing to do with targets or anything like that. The one that I belong to, they have a 600 yards.
Yeah.
You can barely see it. That's how far away it is. And they also have a pistol. The place is just amazing. And they have a lot of members. They have 1,200 members. So they're always under scrutiny from the state and from the town of being safe. And that club has been in business since 1948. And they've never had an accidental discharge. Never. The safety rules are unbelievable.
And I do have to say that the gentleman that wants to create this is extremely willing to do the right thing and wants to make sure that everything is safe and called and said, do you have any parameters in which I have to work under, and so on and so forth. And we don't, but we should. And that's why I'm saying this to you tonight.
Mhm.
We should.
Well-
And
Well, you brought up, we were talking about, I know this is ordinances, but I think you brought up at least 3 areas that we need to do something about, and we need to do it sooner rather than later.
so if you would like me, Cindy and I, to check around different towns and counties or whatever, what they have for,
Yes, please.
Well,
we could do that.
there's
I mean, if they have the
Yeah.
land,
Is Pemmichewasset in Holderness?
Yes, it is.
That would be a town to look at.
Okay.
there's
You have to remember that 95% of all the shooting ranges in the state have been there for years.
That's right.
So this is a new project. So they've been there, they've been grandfathered over the years, and they've amended their plan to accommodate the towns. But when you see them there for 40, 50, 60 years, they're already an intrinsic part of the community.
Mm-hmm.
And they do public service work. They do all this kind of stuff. And I understand that that's part of business. But one of the things that the game club that I belong to is they have charity events going on. They have the one of the things that they accommodate every year is the Royal Marines from Canada. They come in, stay a week, and also it's the training center for the Belmont County. What is it? SWAT team. So they train there. So all of these law enforcement officers, they come there, and they go in there for gratis and stuff like that. So, but it's been established over the years.
there's a state police gun range on 132 in New Hampton, near the New Hampton Ashland line.
Oh.
And believe it or not, they're aiming towards the highway. So, I mean,
Jeez.
think about that next time you drive down 93. There's actually, if you want to write this down, um, this is a club, but it's in the town of Groveton, the Groveton Fishing Game Club, and they have a bunch of rules. I just Googled it. Type of weapon, type of thing.
Well, there's one down in Exit 18, in
Yep. That's the
Sunset Mountain Game Club, but they're restricted on membership. Most clubs, fishing game clubs today, have a limited membership. The only one that doesn't is Pemigewasset. You want to pay your fees, you get your identification card, you have to go and get an orientation as to what you can do and what you can't do. You get a book, range safety, it's about this thick. Your targets can only be, you can't have a target way up here, you can't have a target here, can't shoot at rocks, What you think is common sense. It's common sense, but the idea is that there's some people there, they had vandals in there. They were just going crazy. So it's a lot more than meets the eye.
Yeah, sounds it. So, okay, well, we got a lot to work on here. The other one was you had already taken care of, which was changing New Hampshire DES, changing it NHWSPCC to,
my favorite acronym.
and we're working on changing that. So we've got that pretty covered. So those are some of the things that we're working on, so that starting in August, September, we can start working on the zoning. Hopefully by then we'll have some of these, and if we have an early night like tonight, we can
Excellent.
give them to you so you can start working on them.
Very good.
Good.
Excellent.
Set forth requirements on what to.
You can't just say it's. You have to go through the proper channels and voting. And I have a quick question regarding the other two cases that you mentioned coming. Are they coming soon, or are they coming, you think?
I think it'll be a while.
Okay.
I think it will be a while because they have a tremendous amount to gather
All right.
before they come for a site plan.
Okay. Because the only reason why I was thinking is, okay, if we're going to need an engineer to get the okay to do
Definitely both.
Not gonna know that we're not gonna know that until we look at the plan.
Oh, you know it already for one,
Well,
because you've
I
got
suspect, but I'm in all
two,
fairness to
two
them.
split places already that need
that.
attention.
Well, I'm just thinking that instead of, to slow down,
I agree that we're going to, but
so, I don't know. That was my thought.
I have a comment, sort of, FYI, whatever.
Anyone else? No, just kidding. Go ahead.
So, this isn't for the cases that were approved. This comes from what the legislature is doing, which is basically piling housing on us, multifamily and wherever they want. Tilton being as small as it is, the question is, and I'm neither for or against housing, I'm for Tilton. Is it economically feasible for the town of Tilton to have more housing, and what type of housing, if we should, is that? And that's an economist question, I would think. And I'm thinking of our police department, which you probably have all heard me say a million times. It's the most expensive in the state per capita. And considering we're less than 4,000 population, can we afford as taxpayers more police officers to police, because we have all this housing that the state wants us to have? And you have to remember that our site plan, if you look at it and read it, allows the planning board to say, no, this is not in the best interest of the town of Tilton. So, like I said, with what the legislature is doing, it looks like some of this is going to pass.
Well, one of the things that's going
We're
to
not going to have
pass
any green space.
is that one of the things that they have that looks like it's going to pass is you only have to have an acre of land to have a house.
Yeah. So again, for Tilton, is that economically feasible? Are we justified in saying, no, we can't afford this?
I don't think we are.
Well, what would the tax revenue be? on the increase? That's an unknown.
It
that
would
we need to
depend
look
on
at.
what it is. Multifamily is considered 5 or more units.
Another thing, would it be a negative tax credit? I mean, we got to look at
Mm.
population for school.
I know that we have some apartments in Lockmere, then there's a lot of police trips there. And don't forget ambulance and fire, which town Tilton pays what? Are we at 63% now or 66?
I think it's
53.
66%, I thought.
Somewhere.
I think it
I
went
think we
down
paid
from there.
two-thirds. Oh, did it go down a little bit?
Mhm.
Yeah. So I'm just saying I'm going to
Somewhere
mention
in
it to the
between
Board
there.
of Selectmen Thursday night and see if they want to, what action we can take or.
Maybe it was the volume of calls was almost split the same as the. I mean,
But we pay 2/3 of that.
right? We pay
Fire
2/3,
bill.
right? But the larger of the two residential projects, that's going to be rental. Those aren't going to be individual units for sale, correct?
Correct.
So
And they're going to be one
Well, you never know.
and 2 bedrooms. So, I mean,
no, but what I'm thinking is, okay, if
they're rental. They're not for
right,
sale.
so the tax impact is commercial based, where it's not.
Right. It's based
So
on revenue.
it's based on what it costs to build it. It's
Right.
where the other one, I don't know if they're going to be individual sale or not, but
But that's a $50 million project. That project that
right.
with the residential and manufacturing plants is a $50 million project. So revenue to that.
Yeah. Well, we just had a $50 million project going.
No,
My
that was
tax bill
90
still
million.
my taxes still went up. So,
It's not finished yet.
well, I know.
But that, and that, maybe that is economically feasible because of the commercial and then the taxation. The thing about apartments is you have to remember too, typically it means children.
Yeah.
And that means school district.
Not anymore.
So
It doesn't.
now
If you look at the statistics, Catherine, it doesn't mean children.
R goes
go.
up.
But you need to look at that. You need to look at the school impact as well.
Yeah.
Our
Yeah,
population
like I
by
said,
schools drops
that's an
every year.
economist. That's
Definitely.
definitely not me.
That's right up my alley. That's
Do
my
we have
degree.
an economist we can reach
Do
out
you?
to?
I have a degree in economics and corporate finance from Southern New Hampshire.
No kidding.
And I was working on my MBA as well.
Wow. It's for me, it's like a foreign language.
Oh, that's right up my
I mean, a
alley.
real foreign language.
I love economics.
Yeah.
I love it.
I was a history buff.
I like economics.
Anyway, I just wanted to bring that up because I will bring it up to the select.
Can't spend more than you bring in. That's the big.
Yeah.
Supply and demand.
Huh?
Supply and demand.
That's it.
If there's a demand, there will be a supply.
And we may have met our demand.
I grew up in a town exactly the same size as Tilton. Exactly. Apartments came in, the population doubled in 10 years, the crime rate quadrupled.
Ugh.
Yeah, we moved up
So
from Derry.
awful.
We already have the commercial
Has
side
the
of it. That
population
That might be
affects.
sad that the
36,000
town doesn't
Could we
want to
hire
grow.
an
It's not a
economist
city.
I think
to
they're gonna find that
City.
very
Said
sad.
what
It's still
That's
That's why I'm
considered
going to bring it
town.
up to the selectmen, see what they think.
Franklin is 55.
I think we can get
It's a
like
city.
Yep.
UNH
It's just-
or other places
A
to
small
get
city in New Hampshire.
babies.
No, yeah,
Yeah,
that's what
why
I'm
is it-
thinking. We
Yeah.
might be able to get a
We adjourned the meeting.
intern
Yeah.
or something from.
Is there anything else? There's one person online.
Richard?
Is someone named Richard online? Do you have any questions for the board or comments?
Nope.
No, he did not unmute. So anything else to come before the board this evening?
I'm going to keep this.
I'll make a motion to adjourn.
Second.
Second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Bye.
Aye. Opposed? We are adjourned at 7:24.